Daf Chaf Amud Aleph, the first line right at the top at the end of the line. Boy minei abai me rabbo, I have the following shayla. Chatzer sheroish nichnas lebein hapasim. Let's say that you have a chatzer that empties out, that opens up directly into the area bein hapasim. Ma'al latalta misayich lebein hapasim, bein hapasim l'sayich. Can you carry from the chatzer to and from this area to the bein hapasim, the area bein hapasim? So normally we say that you cannot carry from a chatzer, one chatzer to another chatzer without an eruv. You can't carry from a house to a chatzer without an eruv. But the shaila over here is that the area between the pasim is not, people don't really live there. It's not like a house where people live there or a chatzer where it's part of a residential area. Here it's just the travelers are passing through. Do we consider it like two residential areas that you can't carry from one to the other without an eruv? Do we say that you can't carry from one to the other? Or do we say that, no, we don't really consider the area between the pasim to be a residential area. People don't really live there. And therefore, we say that it's mutter to carry from one area to the other. So that's the shaila. Do we compare it to in some fashion to a residential area and therefore say you cannot carry from one to the other? Or do we say that it's not a residential area and therefore it's mutter to carry from the chotzer to the bein hapasim and vice versa? Amrei mutter. He says it's mutter. They're not considered to be residents of that area, so it's mutter. Shtayim mai, rather, what happens if there's two chatzeres that opens into the bein hapasim? Is that mutter or is that aser? So let's say we have the following scenario. Let's say you have two chatzeres. And they have a wall between them. Now, there has to be an opening between them because they have over here we'll see, we have a discussion of whether they make an eruv. So we'll see, bear this in mind because we'll be discussing the next point in the Gemara. Now, they open up into the area of the bein hapasim. So it opens up into the area. Here you have the area of the bein hapasim. You have the corner point. Let's move this back a little bit. You have the water here, and you have the corner posts. At each corner you have the posts. You have it on the four corners. And it opens up into this area here. So you have two chatzeres that open up into the area of the bein hapasim. Is it mutter or not? So shtayim mai. What's the din if two of them open up into this area? So now do we say, well, suddenly there's two chatzeres opening up into this area. Now, previously we said we don't consider this to be a residential area. There's no isser one to the other. But over here, now two chatzeres open to it. Two are using it. Maybe now we do consider this to be a residential area because it has use of two residential areas are using it. So should we say that it is also to carry back and forth over here? So Amrlei Aser, he says it's also. We'll see why in a moment. Amar Rav Huna, and Rav Huna says Shtayim Asurim Afilu Irvu. Even if they made an eruv between two. Now, in order to make an eruv, they have to have access. They have to have access one to the other. Even if these two made an eruv, so if they make an eruv, we consider it to be as one. Nevertheless, it's still also to carry from here to here. Now, why should that be? If they're eruv, they're ma'arav, it's considered like one chatzer, and one chatzer it's mutter to carry back and forth from here. He says it's also, why is that gzer shem yomru Because we're geyser that people might say, well, let's say there's no opening between the two, and let's say they have no direct access, and let's say their access is only through the area of the Bein HaPasim, people might come to say, well, that's enough to connect them, and therefore, even if there's no direct access between the Chatzeres, this access would be enough to connect them, and you can make such an Eruv, and you can't. Now, why can't you? We see by a Mavoi, when you have a Mavoi, that you have Chatzeres that are open into the Mavoi, but they're not open to each other. They could be at different sides of the street, but the fact that they open into the common Mavoi, that we say, and they have access to each other through the Mavoi, therefore we say it's considered like they have access to each other. And you have Shituv Mavois. Well, why over here don't we say that? They have access through the Bein HaPasim. It should be similar to having access to the Mavoi. If you have, in the case where you have Chatzeres on each side of the street, they open up into a Mavoi, and they can go to the Mavoi to the other one, and that's enough, and allows you to make Shituv Mavois. So Rashi explains, because a Mavoi is closed, it's a closed area and it's elongated. Over here, this is an open area. Meaning, and therefore, they did not institute this takana of Shituv Mavois in this area of Bein HaPasim, because it's an open area, it's not an enclosed area, it doesn't have the features of a Mavoi, where they said, where a Mavoi you can consider it all one. You can merge it and consider the Chatzeres on the two sides of the Mavoi with the Mavoi. This is all one enclosed residential area. But here it's all open, and you can't say that. So that's the Gzera, and that's why we asr it. Rava Amar Eruvin Mutter. Rava says if he made an Eruv, it's Mutter. He says no. If they did make an Eruv, there was an opening between the two, and they made an Eruv, it's considered like one, and you could be metaltal from the Bein HaPasim, from that area to here. Amar Le'Abai L'Rava. Abai says to Rava, Tana the Messiah Lach. We have a Tana that is a riot to what you're saying. Because what did he learn in the Baraisa? Chaser Sherei Sheich and Nichlas LeBein HaPasim. If you have a chaser that one end opens up into the Bein HaPasim, Mutal L'Tal T'Mitayich LeBein HaPasim, or MiBein HaPasim L'Seicha. You can carry back and forth one area to the other. But if two chaseres are open to it, it's also B'med Dvar Mamurim Shaloi Yervu. That's only if they didn't make an Eruv. But if they made an Eruv, Mutorim, then it's Mutter. But let's say this is a Kash on Rav Huna, because Rav Huna said, even with Eruv it's also because of Gzera. Amar Lach Rav Huna, no, the Bryce is talking, Hasam, the Haran, the Arvan. Over there it's talking where there's no Mokum for Gzera, because it's talking in a case where they were connected not only, let's say, here, but also here. So it's very visible, it's very clear that there is an access point between the one chotzer to the other, and it's not only through the area of the Bein HaPasim. That's why it's mutter. But otherwise, we would be geyser. Otherwise, we would say that we would make the Gzera. What about if the water dried up on Shabbos? Now, we made this heter over here. We made this heter for the oil of regalim to be able to draw water. Let's say the water dried up on Shabbos. Amrlei, he said, Klum nasas mechitza el b'shil mayim. Why do we consider this to be a mechitza? It's only to be able to allow them to people to get the water. Mayim ein kan, mechitza ein kan. If there's no water, there's no mechitza. So therefore, it's also. So Taisus points out that even though Abai himself holds Shabbos, Hoyel, Hutru, that when Shabbos, when we say it's mutter, it became mutter at the beginning of Shabbos, it remains mutter, it remains so. But over here, we are talking where there's no mechitzas. Over there, it's talking for other reasons. If we're matter it, then we say once it's mutter, but here, once the mechitzas are no longer here, now we don't consider these to be mechitzas if there's no water. We're only makel to consider these mechitzas if there's water. If there's no water, we don't consider them mechitza, so therefore you can't say that it's mutter. Well, he had a shayla, let's say the water dried up on Shabbos, but then new water came. It rained or new water was flowing into it, and now you do have water in it. So now should it be mutter? Amar Le'abai says, that the water dried up in Shabbos is not a shayla, because the boy minei demar, because we already asked the shayla and the pashla the aser, and Rab already was paisha that it's also. So that's not a shayla. So if the new water came and flowed in on Shabbos, it's also not a shayla. Because now the mechitza has been created on Shabbos. Once the water comes in, we consider these diyumim to be a mechitza. It's a mechitza that was created in Shabbos. V'tanya kol mechitza asuyim b'Shabbos, and we learn in the Brisa any mechitza that was made on Shabbos, bein b'shagi, bein b'mezid, bein b'inus, bein b'rotzen, shmei mechitza. It's considered a mechitza. So it's not a shayla because we consider it a mechitza even though it was made on Shabbos. But didn't we say on this on Rav Nachman? Didn't Rav Nachman say on this brisa that he said that that's only so? That's only the Oishana El Lizrei. It's only lechumra. We only consider it to be a mechitza lechumra if a person threw from the Rishus Harabim into this enclosed area that the mechitzas were made on Shabbos. He's chayiv being zorged from the Rishus Harabim to Rishus Yochid. That's only lechumra. Avelatal taloi. But to say that it's mutter to be mekel and consider it a mechitza, we don't. So over here, you want to be mekel. How can you consider it a mechitza? Abai answers, ki it mother Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman said that it's only lechum and not lekula. That's a mezid itmar. That's only if it was done b'mezid. But if it was done b'shoigeg, v'ines, then we do consider it a mechitza. And here, the water came on its own, so we do consider it a mechitza. If a person throws into the area between the birois, he's chayiv. It's considered Rishus HaYochid. If he threw from the Rishus HaRabim, he's chayiv for being zayrek from the Rishus HaRabim to the Rishus HaYochid. Amar Lady said to Rabbi Elazar Pshita, of course, these are diyumdim, even though they're only corner posts, but they have to have a din. Deraisa is a mechitza. Yila mechitza hi hechim yishtarei lamalis. If it midaraisa would not be considered a mechitza, how could you lamaisa? How could they matter? How could it be mutter to draw the water into that area? Gemara says leitzricha the Dovid ke'ein pasibi rois b'shus harabim. Now, what we mean to say is they made these corner boards, and it was made in an area which is Rishus Harabim, and then he threw from the Rishus Harabim into this area enclosed by the Pasib Rois. And he's chayiv for that. So, he loved the Baal Mechitza. Well, if you wouldn't consider it a Mechitza, then Gabi Bore Chemishter Taltala. It has to be that it's considered a Mechitza. In Samazai, regularly it's considered a mechitza. If these corner posts did not have a din of mechitza, then how can we be matter for oil regolim to draw from the well and draw from that area? So they must be deraisa. These corner posts must have a din of mechitzas. So therefore, even if you made it in Rishus Harabim, and even if there was no well over there and there was no water over there, but deraisa must be that it has a din of Rishus HaYochid. Where it says leitzricha afal gav the kabbakai by Rab. The chiddush is even if they travel, he made it in Rishus Harabim. So the chiddush is even if the public travels through there and they're walking through there and they use it, it's part of the street. They walk through there, it still has a din of mechitza. We don't say that the traffic nullifies the mechitza. For example, Mai kamashmalan dolayos Harabim vatl mechitza. Also, your time of chiddush is that we don't say that the Ram comes and nullifies the mechitza. He already taught us that. This non Rabbi Yehuda says if the Rishus Harabim was now traveled through and was mafsek between the boards of the Pasei Birois, you have to divert the traffic to the side. So Rabbi Elazar says that if you have the traffic that's going through and they're traveling through that area, you have to divert them, because otherwise the traffic, the Rabbim, are split up the area. If you had your Pasei Birois, so you had your your corner posts. You had your possibly rise, and you have the traffic flowing through. Well, he holds that this traffic is a Rishus Rabin, they're traveling through. That splits it up, and you only have this side is one area, and this side is the other area, and then it's not enclosed by mechitzas because the traffic breaks up the two areas, splits it apart, and this side has mechitzas, it's separate from this side, there's nothing connecting it. This side has its two corners, but the traffic, the street, divides the two. So therefore, he says that you have to divert the traffic to the side. You have to divert it to the side so that it doesn't split up the area. That's what Rabbi Yehuda says. He says you have to divert it to the side. And Chacham say no, it's not necessary. We don't say that the traffic is mevatel the mechitzas. And we say on that, Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Elazar Damar Tavaya, and Rabbi Elazar says on this, regarding this, Kan hadiyacha kaichan shel mechitzas. Here we say that the Chachamim, they show you how strong the mechitzas are. We see from here that how strong the mechitzas are, that the Chacham hold that even if the traffic, the public walks through it, we still say that these are mechitzas, and it does not nullify the mechitzas. Is still considered to be a reshus hayachid. So l'chayra, Rabbi Elazar seems to be agreeing with the Chachamim that we don't say that the Rabbim comes and is mevatel the mechitzas. So Gemara says, no, we need this other statement of Rabbi Elazar, because if only from there havamina kan v'loisfirle. You might have thought that what Rabbi Elazar is saying here, that here the Chachamim are showing you the Kayach Mechitzas. Now, I don't agree with it, but they, L'shitosam, they're saying, showing you the Kayach of the Mechitzas. Kamash Malan, Kanus Virle. That's why he says that this, that's why he makes the statement and says that Azorik Lebein possibly Roy is Yirchai, to show that he does agree that even if the Rabbim walk through over there, it's still considered Rishus Hayachid. Well, let him just say this din of Zayrek, and you don't have to say Kan Hoidiyacha Kaicha, that of the Kaich of the Mechitzas. The Gemara answers Chadam Eklal Chaverti Yitmar. This that we say that was said that we see the Kaich of the Mechitzas, then we said that this was only mentioned that once Rabbi Elazar already said that the Zorek, Vizorek, Lebein Painted possibly Roy is Shechayim. Once we already had that statement, and over there, the Talmidim said, Kan Hoidiyacha, that in Rabbi Elazar's name, they said, we see from over here the Kayach of Mechitzas, that the Kayach of Mechitzas, we see that the Rabbim, that it's not Mevatel the Mechitzas. Meaning, they wanted to clarify. Rabbi Elazar said that if you're Zarek, you throw into the area of the possible Royas, Zarek ben Paz Shechayim. And he wanted to make it perfectly clear that even if the Rabbim passed through, that he's still Chayv in that case. So the Talmidim said in Rabbi Elazar's name, you see from here that the Chachamim, the Kayach, what they hold the Kayach Mechitzas, that even if the Rabbim passed through, it's still considered Mechitzah, and that's why if a person is Zarek, therefore, Rabbi Elazar's statement that he said is Zarek Lebein possibly Roy's, that he's holding like the Chachamim, even if the Rabbim had passed through, he holds like the Chachamim, and Kan Usvirle, he holds like the Chachamim, that it's considered Rishus Hayachid, and we don't say the Rabbim comes and is Vatal Mechitzas.